Hello everyone, welcome back to Up North with the Nybergs. Ed here. In this video, I'll talk about our new Kubota 5400, MX5400 that we purchased last fall and took delivery last fall. And I'll also spend a little bit of time talking why we chose this particular model and configuration. It's a perfectly beautiful sunny day today, about 32, so it looked like a good time to talk about tractors as spring approaches. The reason I spent a lot of time researching this particular tractor for what we needed today and what we want in the future, or what our needs were going to be in the future. We have about 72 acres out here in northern Michigan, and I quickly came to the conclusion that there really isn't a perfect tractor for our intended use, just really lots of choices and lots of options. Now the best option for our needs and location really was this Kubota MX5400. You may be wondering why a new tractor versus perhaps maybe a used tractor on the market. And quite frankly, I looked at a lot of used tractors and really couldn't find one that gave me kind of the confidence that it was treated and maintained to a high standard. I'm a little bit OCD in how I treat my equipment, and I really couldn't tell whether or not that the tractor I was looking at was held up to those standards or not. That's always the challenge when you're looking at used equipment. So again, I preferred this new Kubota to what I found on the used market. And I understand that everybody's budget and needs are completely different, and certainly used tractors are great. In fact, I found a lot of them that I thought would work perfect. The only challenge for me was I just couldn't tell how they were used, and so ultimately we made the decision to go with new. Now this video isn't an endorsement for Kubota. This tractor isn't necessarily any better than, say, a John Deere, a Mahindra, a New Holland, or any of the many others available. It's just what we decided on. Also, real quick, a big part of that decision had to do with the local dealership as well. We felt really comfortable with our local dealership. Now, I'm not a tractor expert, just your typical property owner that probably spent way too much time researching tractors. Believe me, there are many more people out there that are much better and more of an expert than I ever wish to be. And I highly recommend you seeking them out as well, especially if you're in the market for a tractor. Also, I'm not going to break down the price or the specs of this particular tractor or the attachments. That information is readily available online. I'll just explain why we chose this tractor and why we chose each attachment. Okay, I'll stop talking now and show you the Kubota MX5400. We're actually in my pole barn here. It's just way too windy outside. I mean, it's expected to blow upwards of 40 miles per hour, and it's just way too loud. And the mic was having a hard time picking me up, other than it was picking up the wind pretty well. But in any event, we'll go ahead and do it here in my pole barn. All right, let's start with the loader, and this loader is LA 1065A. I don't know why the A isn't on there, and I'm not 100% sure what that designation is, but on the invoice it was LA 1065A. And we thought this particular loader, first of all, it was designed for this tractor. We also thought it would be plenty for what we're going to be doing here up in northern Michigan on our property. So we stuck with what was recommended for this particular model. And we did have some choices, obviously, around the bucket, and we chose to go with a 72-inch bucket. It does have this great quick release mechanism, and that's awesome. That's going to definitely make things a lot easier to switch between this bucket and the Pallet Forks that I got with it as well. So that's essentially it for the loader. Now the tractor itself and the configuration that we wanted was, obviously you can see we don't have a cab, and that really was on purpose. I was always a little concerned about going into the woods and maybe hitting a tree branch or something that would punch a hole through that cab. The other reason, quite frankly, was this backhoe. And if we wanted this backhoe, we are going to have to move up to the LX series of tractors, and we really didn't want to do that. We felt that this backhoe, the BH92, was perfect for our needs. Obviously, we live out in the country. We have a lot of trees. We do a lot of wood processing, and hence we have a lot of stumps. And so we felt that this was big enough for our needs, and so we didn't want to go up to the LX size tractor. This is 54 horsepower at the engine, actually 53.8 the engine horsepower, and then at the PTO it's 46.3, I believe, at the PTO. That's the horsepower at the PTO. Once again, it's 53.8 and 46.3 at the PTO. Now this also has a hydrostatic transmission. It's four-wheel drive as well. We elected to do that. We live in northern Michigan. We get a lot of snow. But it has this hydrostatic transmission, and I've used them before, and it's interesting. And the comment that I'll make, it's really not the actual transmission itself. It has to do with me as an operator. I've had both my hips removed or replaced, and this toe-to-heel movement could be a little uncomfortable at times. And so it's really not commentary on the design or how it worked. It worked really well. Really, the commentary is whether I'm comfortable or not. So I'm either going to have to get a cushion on the seat or adjust this so it's much more comfortable for me. But like I said, it worked great. But it does put a little strain on my hip. We've got 72 acres up here. We've got a lot of woods, a lot of tree stumps, a lot of logs to move, and so we chose this BH92. And it's not too big, not too small. We think it's going to be the perfect size for removing stumps, digging stumps out, and moving the logs up by our wood processing center, which is just over the hill. I think it's going to be more than enough than what we need out here. But one commentary on this is that these traditionally come with just a standard manual thumb. And that works fine. I've seen it in videos and had a chance to look at it, and it works pretty well. You just have to get off the machine and maneuver it into the position that you're looking for. But we elected to get this hydraulic thumb, mainly because we are going to be moving a lot of logs and such. This wasn't a cheap upgrade. I think we paid a couple of $1,000 for this upgrade. I think the manual thumb is probably around $500, and this one I think was right around $2,000 to get it, but we really think that it's going to save us a lot of time. I'm perfectly fine not having a cab. We're in northern Michigan. We're pretty hardy folks up here. We move a lot of snow for the most part. Our summers are awesome up here, so having a cab really isn't going to add or more comfort than having this open cab. All right, I thought I'd take a minute and show you the Pallet Forks that we got as another implement for this particular tractor, and obviously standard 48-inch tines. I also purchased these extenders, and you're really not supposed to go much farther than 72 inches for this particular pallet fork setup, but I did go a little bit farther, a foot farther. I went out to 84 inches, and the reason for that is I have a couple of snowmobiles, and so I can now easily, with these extenders, be able to get underneath it, lift it up. They're not that heavy, so I wasn't worried about the weight, and be able to just move them around the pole barn or move them up and down the property as I needed. So that's why I got these extenders. I'm probably only going to use them to move pretty light material around, or those snowmobiles. All right, I hope this video was helpful. We ultimately chose this MX5400 really based on our expected needs, our property size, and the support really from our local dealership. We think the local dealership and the support they provide ranked really high on our expectations and the priorities. We think the local dealership can make or break your experience really with any model you choose. Now, we bought this tractor last fall and really haven't put it through its paces yet. We've mainly used it to move large banks of snow so I can move additional snow. We get up here in northern Michigan, we get about 120 inches, and we're certainly going to get more. So I used it last month to move some snow banks, and I did make a video, and I'll link to that somewhere up here so that you can watch it actually in action. I do plan on creating many future videos with this tractor, many implements that I ordered, and I'll be using throughout the spring and summer, so please subscribe to the channel for those. So until the next video, we appreciate you watching. Please subscribe and share with your family and friends and others who might find value in this particular video, but just the channel itself. So thanks for watching. Till the next video, we appreciate it.